Have you ever wondered why fear grips us so tightly, often when we least expect it? This invisible force that pulls the strings of our emotions is like a phantom that lurks in the shadows of our minds. It's a fascinating, yet perplexing phenomenon. Fear, in its most primitive form, served as a survival tool for our ancestors. It was the alarm bell that rang loud and clear when danger was near, triggering a fight or flight response. But we're not living in the wild anymore, are we? We're in a world of technology, innovation, and comfort. Yet fear still holds a firm grip on us, often stunting our growth, hindering our progress, and limiting our potential. It's like a paradox, isn't it? Something that once protected us now holds us back. But fear is not invincible, it's not an unconquerable beast. It's merely an emotion, and like all emotions, it can be understood and controlled. Understanding fear is the first step to conquering it. Did you know that our perception of fear can be more debilitating than the fear itself? It's an intriguing concept, isn't it? Our mind is a powerful tool, capable of creating grand illusions that can either inspire us or leave us trembling in the corner. And fear, my friends, is one of those illusions. Fear is often born out of our perception of a situation rather than the actual situation itself. It's like looking through a pair of glasses with a smoky lens. Everything appears dark, gloomy, and intimidating. But what if we change the lens? What if we choose to perceive the situation differently? Suddenly the darkness fades and we see possibilities, not threats. Let's take an example. Imagine you're about to give a public speech. Your heart is pounding, your palms are sweaty, and your mind is filled with dreadful thoughts. You perceive this situation as a terrifying ordeal, but what if you change your perception? What if you see it as an opportunity to share your ideas, to inspire others, to make a difference? The fear subsides, doesn't it? This is the power of perception. It can transform our fears into opportunities. It can turn the seemingly impossible into a potential achievement. It can make the unbearable bearable. It's like a switch. Flick it, and the room is no longer dark. Remember, our minds are like gardens. If we plant seeds of fear and water them with negative thoughts, they'll grow into towering trees of terror. But if we plant seeds of courage and nourish them with positive perceptions, they'll bloom into beautiful flowers of bravery. It's all about how we choose to perceive our fears. We can either let them control us, or we can take control of them. We can either let them define us, or we can define them. It's a choice, and it's ours to make. So, the next time you're gripped by fear, remember this: change your perception, and you'll change your reality. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. The first step in overcoming fear is to acknowledge it. It's like a shadowy figure lurking in the corners of your mind, exerting its influence over your thoughts and actions, often without you even realizing it. But when you bring it into the light, when you say, "Yes, I am afraid," you rob it of its power. Recognizing and accepting your fear is not about surrendering to it, but about understanding its presence. It's about saying, "I see you, fear, I feel you, but you do not define me." It's about reclaiming the driver's seat of your life instead of letting fear dictate your path. Avoidance only fuels fear's fire. It's like a monster under the bed, growing larger and more terrifying the longer you refuse to look at it. Acceptance, on the other hand, is like turning on a light. When you acknowledge your fear, you take away its power to control you. Scene script. Understanding your fear is the second step in overcoming it. We've all heard the saying, "Knowledge is power," right? Well, when it comes to fear, this phrase holds true. To overcome your fear, it's crucial to understand what's causing it. Unraveling the root cause of your fear is like solving a mystery where you're both the detective and the suspect. Fear isn't just an unpleasant feeling, it's a complex, multifaceted emotion with deep psychological roots. It could stem from past experiences, traumatic events, or even misconceptions about certain situations or things. Understanding the root cause of your fear is like having a roadmap. It gives you a clear path to navigate through the labyrinth of your emotions. Now, let's talk about the benefits of understanding your fear. When you understand your fear, it's no longer an unknown entity looming over you. It becomes a tangible problem that you can tackle. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. The monsters are no longer lurking in the shadows. You can see them for what they truly are, just figments of your imagination. Moreover, understanding your fear allows you to develop strategies to combat it. It's like knowing your enemy's weaknesses in a battle. Once you know what you're up against, you can tailor your approach to be more effective. For example, if you fear public speaking because you're worried about people judging you, understanding this can help you work on your self-confidence and communication skills. In addition, understanding your fear can also foster empathy and compassion towards others who might be going through similar struggles. It can help you connect with others on a deeper level and maybe even inspire them to face their own fears. So don't shy away from understanding your fear. Embrace it, study it, know it. Only then can you truly begin to overcome it. When you understand your fear, you become more equipped to overcome it. So let's equip ourselves, shall we? The third step in overcoming fear is challenging it. Challenging fear, my friends, is not about being reckless or taking unnecessary risks. It's about stepping out of that comfortable cocoon you've built around yourself, where everything is familiar and predictable. It's about venturing into the unknown, where fear often resides. Imagine standing on the edge of a pool, the water unfamiliar and cold. You're hesitant, you're scared, but you know you have to jump. That's what challenging fear feels like. It's about taking that leap, knowing full well that it could be uncomfortable, even a bit scary, but doing it anyway. Now, let's understand why challenging your fear is so crucial. You see, when you face your fear head-on, you're actually retraining your brain. You're teaching it that what it perceives as a threat is not really as dangerous as it thinks. This is called exposure therapy in psychological terms. It's a bit like that first moment when you dip your toes into the pool. It's cold, it's uncomfortable, but then you stay a little longer and your body starts to adapt. The water doesn't feel as cold anymore. That's because your body has realized that the cold water isn't a threat. It's the same with your brain and fear. The more you expose yourself to your fear, the more your brain learns that it's not a threat. Eventually, the fear response starts to decrease. It may not happen overnight, but with consistent effort, you'll find that what used to scare you doesn't hold the same power over you anymore. And here's the best part. When you challenge your fear, you're not just reducing your fear response, you're also building your confidence. Each time you face your fear, you're proving to yourself that you're stronger than it. You're showing yourself that you have the courage and the resilience to overcome anything that stands in your way. Remember, fear is only as powerful as you allow it to be. It's not an invincible monster. It's just a feeling, a response to a perceived threat. And like any feeling, it can be managed, it can be overcome. When you challenge your fear, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than it. Overcoming fear might seem like a daunting task, but remember, it's a journey of small steps. As we draw our discussion on vaincre sa peur to a close, it's important for us to revisit the key points we've touched upon. We started our journey by uncovering the mystery of fear, acknowledging its powerful hold on our lives. Fear, as we've learned, is not an enemy, but a messenger. It's a signal that we need to pay attention to something, that we need to make changes, to grow, to step outside of our comfort zone. Then we delved into the power of perception. Our fears, as intimidating as they may seem, are largely a product of how we perceive the world around us. By shifting our perception, we can change our reality. Fear is not an insurmountable obstacle. It's a challenge, a stepping stone on our path to growth. Next, we acknowledged our fears. This is a crucial first step in the journey of overcoming fear. It's about honesty, about looking our fears in the eye and saying, I see you, I acknowledge you. Once we've acknowledged our fears, we moved on to understanding them. What are they telling us? What are they protecting us from? By understanding our fears, we can begin to see them not as monstrous villains, but as misguided protectors. Finally, we learn to challenge our fears. This might be the most difficult step, but it's also the most rewarding. Challenging our fears means stepping into the unknown, daring to confront what scares us, and in doing so, discovering our true potential. So where do we go from here? It's all about taking those small steps. Fear might seem like a giant beast, but it can be tamed, one step at a time. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. We're all in this together, each of us fighting our own battles, but united in our determination to overcome. Remember, the only thing standing between you and your goal is the story you keep telling yourself about why you can't achieve it. It's time to rewrite that story,